You all are in for a special treat. This episode has been 2 years in the making. It's a feel-good story. It's a story about a female leader in a male-dominated space. It's starting from the bottom and climbing your way to the top to buy back the company that was founded by your grandfather. This episode will be can't miss TV, whether you are or are not in the mortgage industry. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and a very special guest. By way of New Orleans, Louisiana, she is a third-generation mortgage banker. When she's not slinging loans and running her company, you can find her down in Belize on a beach, traveling with her family, or in the gym getting her workout on. She is the president of Eustis Mortgage. She is my friend, deKay. Kate, welcome to T-Lop.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I'm excited that we finally get to do this.
You know, slightly nervous. I always say I'd rather be on that stage than in front of these cameras.
Well, here's the best part.
I get to talk to you.
Yes, you and I are having a conversation. No different than we did at an MBA conference. No different than we did last night at the dinner that was put on by our friends at Lower and our friends at Essent, as well as the housing.
CAFA.
Yeah. Yes. Like we had an awesome dinner last night, and Kate and I get to be together. It's funny because we met through the MBA, and then earlier this year, you invited me to come out to your company's annual sales rally, and I was very fortunate to participate, hang out with your incredible team. I got to speak at your event, and then we're both at the Louisiana Mortgage Bankers Association here in actually Baton Rouge.
Yes, we're in Baton Rouge.
And then how do I pronounce the name of the hotel again?
L'Auberge.
Mm-hmm. It's not spelled that way, though. It's very French, very Cajun. Sure. But it's a hotel casino right outside of Baton Rouge. The highlight of my drive-in was seeing the LSU football stadium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you an LSU fan?
I'm not. I'm a Saints fan. I mean, I'm not.
Okay, one's college and one's NFL. Right.
Okay. I can't do two fans. I can't be a fan of two teams. That's too much effort.
Okay.
I like LSU. I'll root for LSU, but I'm a Saints fan.
So Saints going 3-14, you don't care?
No.
Like you're a season ticket holder, you're going to be there.
I'll be there, but they're going to be terrible this year.
Spencer Rattler's at the QB. He's probably a good QB2 or QB3. Don't know if he's a QB1.
It's all right. We'll be up for a good pick.
You will be up for a good pick. Yeah. So, you know what? Maybe you'll get the Manning kid. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Right. So
oh,
convenient.
my God. Is it really suck for Archie? Is that
Arch.
what we're... Oh, Arch.
Granddaddy
is Archie. Okay. Yes.
Yes, it'd be great.
Who is a legend for the New Orleans Saints.
For sure.
All right. Very cool. So here's what I want to do today, Kate. I know you. We've had the luxury of building this friendship over the past couple of years. I know your story. I think your story is incredible. Yeah. I know you're all humble and stuff. You're like, oh, I'm just a girl. I'm just a mortgage professional. I'm just a mom. I'm just a wife. And sure, you are just all of those things, but you're those things at a very high level, especially in the mortgage space. Like I'll let your kids and your husband speak about how great you are as like a mom and a wife, but I can speak as a mortgage professional. Like you're a damn good leader. And you still represent, although you're 20 years in the industry, the future of mortgage lending. And you're someone that we all should know because you're someone that we all should be following. And your story, I think, is pretty incredible because, look, y'all, there aren't that many female-owned and female-operated mortgage companies. Like this industry for the past, 10 decades has been pale, male, and stale. And
I liked your comment earlier.
Yes, and you get to disrupt that. And I love the approach that you're taking. So I think so much of this episode is going to be a journey of your family, you getting into the industry, you starting from processor, working your way up to CEO and owner of the company, majority owner of the company, and all the lessons you learned along the way, but also the successes you had. Maybe talk about some of the failures that you encountered, what they taught you. So the goal would be anyone tuning in gets to not just feel like they know you on a more intimate level, but also that they took away some really good lessons where you either encouraged them that yes, they can, or you showed them that they're no different than you, meaning whatever they're facing, you've already been there. It's okay. They'll get through it. But before we get into that, I want to take a quick pause so that we can show some love to today's show sponsor. Loan officers, mortgage brokers, listen up. This is the event of the year that you can't miss. It will sell out. And never before has it been done like this. You have the iconic Sales Mastery coming together and joining forces with Momentum Builder for 3 days in Dallas, Texas. That's October 14th through 17th. If you want to end the year strong and you want to invest in your future success, come hang out with me. Come hang out with 1,000 other mortgage professionals at Sales Mastery powered by Momentum Builder. Again, Dallas, Texas, and those dates October 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. We can't wait to see you in Dallas this October, but you better hurry up because it will sell out. All right, deKay, so we are now back. Where do you want to start?
Let's say how I got into the industry.
Yes. So for the audience, correct me if I'm wrong, you are third generation.
I am.
Right?
So,
Eustis Mortgage is your company.
yes.
Okay.
My grandfather started it in 1956.
As a mortgage company.
Yes.
Okay.
It was an insurance company as well, which teetered off, but been mortgage since 1956. And then my uncle and dad were both in the business as well.
Okay. And then you grew up in that household and you just knew mortgage is your calling and that's what you're going to do the rest of your life.
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
No, actually it was pretty discouraged in the family to like get into the family business or get into mortgage, and very encouraged to do whatever you want. So my degree is in fine arts and interior design. And I did that for a little bit and decided it wasn't really my passion and jumped into the mortgage world in 2007.
Okay.
So right pre-crash, which was some fun times.
I bet.
And really just never looked back.
Okay. So growing up, you were around mortgage, like you were telling me off camera, you worked at the company,
Yes.
but like part-time receptionist.
I was a receptionist in the summers.
Okay.
And I do tell this story a lot. It's a fun story about kind of how I was empowered by some of the females. We had a lot of female loan officers. They were actually our top producers. And as a female sitting at the reception desk, getting to watch them walk in at various hours, well-dressed, typically multitasking on the phone, handing me something, doing all these things. And it was just really amazing to watch them, and also kind of why when I was making a career change was like, okay, I can see myself here. Yeah. And then also being able to bring that up and of course help people become homeowners is number one.
How did you know that interior design wasn't your jam? Like what part of it wasn't fulfilling?
So I guess as a younger person in design, you kind of just do whatever everybody wants you to do. But the reason that I got out of it is because I would have preferred to be in like Chicago. So that's where I went to school. New York. I needed to be somewhere else to actually get into the design that I would want to do or the people that I would want to work with. And I really wanted to be at home, and came back to New Orleans, and then it just really wasn't my thing in New Orleans. So if I would have kind of taken that path of going elsewhere, I think it would have been a different story.
Isn't it funny how that works out? Mm-hmm. Like my degree is in advertising. I worked in Atlanta, Georgia in the advertising industry, and the section I took, I loved. But it was the start from the bottom, low pay, pretty kind of prestigious what we were doing. Mm. But if you wanted the money, you had to go into a local market and sell local TV advertising. And I learned quickly, I hated selling local TV advertising. I loved national. That was really cool. And like I said, it was kind of prestigious and had just a certain air about it. But it was a longer climb to get to the top of that ladder. And I was young, hungry, aggressive. And I say to people all the time, had I stayed in Atlanta, I probably would have stayed in the TV advertising industry. It just wouldn't take me longer to achieve certain financial goals. Mm-hmm. However, as fate has it, I moved to West Palm Beach, and the rest is history. Yeah, you're basically sharing with me, had you maybe stayed in New York or LA or Chicago, there's a chance maybe you would have found that passion for what you went to school for.
Yeah.
But you missed New Orleans too much, so you came home. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the same doing that trade in New Orleans. So you're like, well, these ladies impressed me when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. Can I maybe be like them?
Yeah, for sure. I think with everybody, it's like, yes, it was my family business, but with everybody in mortgage, we stumble into this.
Yeah.
And then we love it because we love the people mostly, and we love what we're doing to help people become homeowners.
So did you jump in like feet first to become an originator, or did they make you start?
I started in a closet, basically. My office was legitimately a closet, and I was a processor.
Okay. How long did you process for?
I processed probably only for 6 months because, as you said, you quickly see like, okay, here's what I want to do. I have enough knowledge at this point to just like jump right in.
So did you go from processor to LO?
LO.
Okay, and when you did LO, like were you like thrown out to the wolves, or were you like put on someone's team and provided leads?
I was thrown out to the wolves. I did think that being a family business that I would have had some more connections in the real estate world, but my dad he originated like way back in the day, so he had no connections any longer. So yes, I was just out there trying to figure it out, just like every other loan officer does.
How long did you originate for?
I actually just stopped originating a couple of years ago.
No way.
Yeah, but primarily originated for 4 years and then added on, into sales more.
Like branch management, area
branch
manager.
management, kind of up the ladder in that direction, and then added things as we went. So we were a lot smaller company at that point. So basically anything that we needed for growth, I was like, yes, I'll do that. So it just kind of had my hands all over.
Okay, so when you joined the company back in 2007, it was nowhere near the size it is in 2025.
No, I actually meant to go look at the specific volume. Of course, I didn't do that, but it was, maybe 50 million or something.
Would you say that was like you had a heavy hand in that, or was that something because you just recently bought the company? I say recently, now I guess it's going on 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But you bought the company in 2018 from your father and your uncle?
Just my father at that point.
Just your
my
father
uncle had already been bought out. Yeah.
Okay, but. Were you the heavy-handed person who wanted the growth? Was it a team effort, or like was your dad kind of pushing for it once he saw your energy and maybe some other people's energy? So
we had a CEO that came in between. So a big part of my family dynamic was my stepdad never wanted me to report directly to him.
Okay.
So I never reported directly to him. So there was always somebody in between.
Yes.
Eventually that we hired a CEO that was not anybody, no family member, so just an outside person. And he was charged with the growth at that time. And he definitely started down that path for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So you went and found a who.
Yes.
Y'all, the company found a who, put that who in charge, and that who was like, hey, you guys are on something special here. Let's go ahead and introduce it to more people. Let's expand into other markets, and then kind of the rest is history.
Yes.
Right, because at this standpoint, I mean, you all are roughly, what, $1 billion operation?
Close, yes.
Yep, close to. It's probably the goal in a year like years, like 23, 24, 25. Obviously, in a more normal market, you should probably see that probably in the mid 1 billion range, 1.5 to 1.8, which puts y'all, I'm guessing, top 100 mortgage lender in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of, do you know how many mortgage lenders? 400, 600?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive. So looking back in your career, when you were originating, what is one thing that when you look back, because you still lead originators, right? I mean, as the majority owner and the CEO of the company, I mean, you're leading all. But when you're looking back at your origination days, because you did spend 4 years there, what's one thing that you did that helped you become successful as an originator?
Yeah. So it always takes time. I mean, we talk about that all the time. I mean, you're at least 2 years before you can build any book of business.
Okay.
But my path for success was really just creating relationships. And that was with our referral partner. So we've always been a very partnered with our real estate agents to grow the company. So that's how we get our business. And really just creating relationships and forging that. And I mean, in the background, as long as you're doing a good job, typically the relationship is what gets you the deal.
Were you a smile and dialer? Were you a get in your car and do Popeyes? Were you an event person?
I would do more Popeyes and events, yeah.
Yeah. Like
Which
attending
at that
networking?
Point,
You were attending networking events? Okay.
We even created a networking group when I was younger that was not BNI. It was called Networking After Hours.
Oh, that sounds super fun. Okay. Yeah. Was that like down on Bourbon Street, or was that Bourbon Street too dirty?
No, it really was. Yeah, it was not on Bourbon
It was not on Bourbon Street. Yeah, because you guys, I mean, I always think of your headquarters is New Orleans.
Yes.
Right, but you have brick and mortar in how many different states?
So we're 7 states for brick and mortar, and we really decentralized. We were lucky in that was kind of a targeted plan, and that we decentralized, and it just happened to be right before COVID.
Okay.
So even like our New Orleans office at that point was our corporate headquarters, but a lot of our folks had already started working from home because we had, you know, an underwriter in Pennsylvania. My underwriter in New Orleans is like, why do I have to show up in the office? So we had really adjusted our model.
So like you were hybrid
right
before
away.
hybrid was cool.
Yes.
Yeah. You're like, no, we did this work from home thing.
Right.
Before COVID.
Yeah, which made it easy.
I want to follow your journey, but I do want to circle back because we have so many originators who tune into the show, and they're typically younger in their career originators. You know, obviously the two things I picked up already when you got started, you were willing to start as a processor to work out of a closet, right? Even though her stepfather and her uncle owned the company, right? Like you still had to start from the bottom and work your way up. And I'm sure you gained valuable experience. Then you originated for 4 years. As an originator, you're like, well, first it took me 2 years to kind of figure it all out. Sure. And you spent your time calling on real estate agents, usually doing outbound, what I call networking activities. So either going by their office or going to networking functions, even if you had to put your own networking function on. Looking back at, whatever that was, probably 2008 through 2012 for you, what's one thing that you can remember that you did that you're like, oh God, please don't do that? Was there ever like one particular marketing idea or sales tactic that you're like,
oh man, I don't think.
Yeah, not one that stands out.
No, nothing that's sticking out to me.
Yeah, like,
I mean, I'm sure I made lots of mistakes.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's funny. I'm thinking, okay, I just kind of, came out of left field with that question. Kate was not prepared for that question.
No.
But even if you asked me the same exact question, I would probably have to come up with an answer like, I remember there's this one realtor who he literally would hand me 200 internet leads and be like, hey, I got some leads for you, and think he was doing me a favor.
Right.
And it actually wasn't the worst thing. It's probably the best thing that happened because it taught me early to advocate for myself. But I got excited for about a day. Then I made some phone calls, realized that these leads weren't leads. This was a waste of my time. And I learned quickly that some will, some won't, who cares, move on. That's a guy I had to move on from. But yeah, I wouldn't know, because I want all salespeople to throw spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. Yeah. Because just because it didn't work last year doesn't mean it won't work this year. Just because it didn't work for her doesn't mean it won't work for me.
Right.
Or better yet, just because it worked for me, maybe that's my sales DNA, but it wouldn't work for you.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Like, as a salesperson, you have to figure out what are you good at and how are you going to do it to differentiate yourself. And everybody is different. Mine is networking and talking to people and being in front of you and having a conversation, but others could be lead dialing or, creating relationships in different ways.
When you started managing others, was it salespeople you started managing, or did you jump from LO to like ops manager?
LO to branch manager. And at that point, branches had processors, within the branch. So it was sales and ops.
Walk me through those early days. What are some of those early lessons that you had to learn? the young Nepo baby coming in. Like, I'm sure some people had to, even if under their breath, make those comments or those statements.
For sure.
Did you ever feel like you had a lot to prove or a lot more to prove because of that?
I think that's why I was more successful, because I always thought I had to prove myself.
Okay.
Yeah. And not just that it was handed to me.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't handed to me.
No, it wasn't.
But also you are put in a position that you feel like I have to work harder than everybody here, do more, be better at what I'm doing and offering, because that's the only way to gain trust, I think, as the Nepo baby. Yeah.
Was branch manager a calling, or was it like always on your vision board? Like, okay, I one day want to take over this company. In order to do so, I have to know all aspects of it.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that great of a plan.
Okay.
Everything was just very much like, kind of how I said earlier, but it was like trial by fire. So it's like we add a branch, maybe branch manager leaves, and then I'm like, okay, I'll run over to that branch and manage that branch. And then same thing as it became regions. So it wasn't really by design where I ended up. It was more by necessity.
Yeah. I mean, but so much of that is, you're obviously a team player. You were all in. You knew what you were doing, and you're ambitious. So when you saw the opportunity, you're like, well, they need me here. It could have been any company, but it happened to be this company. They need me. You raised your hand and you went all in. Like, to me, that's a lesson.
Yeah.
It's if you want something and you let it known to others that you're willing to step in and even fill in, then it's amazing where you can take your career. But there's many that don't want that.
Yeah.
Like you obviously wanted to do more. You wanted to manage? Was that just because you wanted to prove yourself, or was there something else behind the scenes?
No, I really like kind of being with people,
Okay.
or helping people succeed.
Yeah, so you viewed that as another way that you could find fulfillment and job satisfaction by pouring in others.
Yes.
It just so happened it also allowed you to develop skills like managerial skills or leadership skills.
That's correct.
I'm going to flip the script for a second here and go down a different like alleyway.
Okay.
Little bit of a rabbit hole. But I mentioned earlier you and I met through the MBA. I want to talk about your involvement in the MBA because you get to be a part of some cool committees with National MBA. I'm sure you've been, throughout the years, you've been instrumental in both your local and your state MBA. Where did that come about? Was that something instilled upon you by your mentors, or was this something that you found on your own?
Yeah, so locally, Eustis has been involved in the local chapter, which has now just become MBA. This year was our official year back to being an MBA affiliate. We were called the LMLA before, so just basically Mortgage Lenders Association.
Yep. And real quick, by the way, shout out to Ashley Logan with Essent, as well
Ashley.
as Caitlin Hodges is she with Assurance? These two ladies knocked it out of the freaking
100%.
park. Like I'm highly involved in the Florida MBA, and I get to travel the country speaking at various MBAs, whether it's Texas, Arkansas, the Carolinas, Wisconsin, Georgia, and this event, I mean, you would think that they have been doing this event 10 years in a row. It's so well run and well organized. So I just want to give a quick shout out to both Caitlin and Ashley. But
yeah, and they've doubled attendance this year too. So
from last
if
year.
You're watching in Louisiana, you should definitely be here next year.
Heck, if you're watching Louisiana, what about if you're in Gulfport?
Or
what if you're in
by.
Pensacola, or you're over in East Texas? I mean, this is a cool ass event with cool ass people. And it's only a 2 or 3 hour drive for some of you.
And I heard a little minor secret. It could potentially be in New Orleans next year. So,
I
mean, that will draw some outer states too.
Okay, very cool. So I interrupted, but let's jump back on.
Yes, where were we? I don't even remember.
You were answering my question about your involvement in the NBA because you are hyper involved. And I want you to speak to the audience who are tuning in that, whether you like it or not, may look at this and say, I one day too want to have a career like Kate. And how did you find yourself so involved in the MBA?
Yeah, so our company has been involved locally since I started, and just always found it very valuable to be able to talk to peers in the industry. That expanded to the Mortgage Collaborative, which is a group I'm also a big part of and serve on the board for. And they're a great group. Just, again, it's a lot of collaboration and sharing amongst peers, which I feel like is very valuable in our line of work. And then been a member. Our company's been a member of MBA again since I've existed within the company, and just became more involved as time went on. My dear friend Chrissy Ray, who has since passed away, just encouraged me to get more involved. And it's kind of like the voluntold situation where she was like, "There's a board seat opening, and I'm putting your name down." I was like, "What does that mean? Like, how much time does that take? Like, really?" And then again, I get a text message from somebody that's like, "Congratulations, you're on the," and I don't know, what are you congratulating me about? Yeah. So it just, her encouragement and as a good friend and a mentor, really to get more involved at the MBA level. I've been involved in Future Leaders and done the advocacy along the way as well, prior to joining the board. But it's just such an important group to be involved with in our industry. They advocate on our behalf. Trigger Leads bill would not be where it is right now without MBA's involvement.
Yeah, no, Trigger Leads is such a hot topic that I can't wait. John and I are probably going to record an episode just on Trigger Leads. We've done plenty to talk about the legislation that we've been trying to pass for the past 3 years, and we've even covered the fact that it finally passed. But now that it's finally passed and the dust is settling, I'm reading the fine print and I'm like, whoa, there's some gotcha moments in this legislation that I don't think enough of us are talking about. You and I talked about this on stage earlier in front of 200 people that are in the attendance, because I had a chance to kick off the event as a keynote speaker, but then I was invited to come back and moderate a panel that you were on along with 3 other executives, where we talked about Trigger Leads and Fannie and Freddie doing the IPO and the Fed rate cuts and what we anticipate the market to do over the next 18 months. Like, it was a phenomenal panel picking y'all's brain. But one thing I've learned preparing for the panel actually was like, wait a minute, when I read about trigger leads, there's some gotcha moments. So I think we're going to end up, if I were to foreshadow for the audience, stay tuned to an upcoming episode, because John and I are going to talk about what those gotcha moments are and how you all can avoid them. Because although we won the battle finally, we haven't won the war, and there's still some potential, let's say, rough waters ahead. Yeah. If we're not operating our business, one in which we are not the subject matter expert, which we want to be, but where we are creating that client for life relationship.
Yeah, and I think that's the point is, look, the client's not going to get a million phone calls day one any longer. We won that battle, as you said.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that the data isn't readily available for lots of other people to make those phone calls. Like, don't get lazy and stop doing your job.
Yes.
And I'm sure you'll go into all the details.
That's 100% where we're going, because it's actually one saying, where this is a little bit, this is a rabbit hole, but without giving away that whole entire episode, they're going to go from getting 1,000 calls that annoy them to 3 calls from people that they feel like they already know. Mm-hmm. And it's like, ooh, would I've rathered actually had 1,000 phone calls that just annoy them, so they ignore them all, or now they're only getting 3, but those 3 are what I would deem like true competition. Mm-hmm. So that's for a later episode, but I wanted to get the part in about MBA because it's how we met, but it's been very instrumental in my career. It's been very instrumental in your career. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that, like, y'all, if you're a true professional, you would be a part of any trade organization. Look, it could be AIM if you're a broker. It could be FAMP if you're a broker down in Florida. It could be your MBA, whatever it may be. Heck, you may be a teacher, a firefighter, a cop. Like, y'all have your unions and you have your own trade organizations. I mean, I think the true marking of a professional is one in which is fully ingrained in his or her industry. Mm-hmm.
And plus, we wouldn't have got to meet and have drinks over Katy Perry.
We would not have been able to have drinks. Yeah, we
met. For the concerts.
You know what's interesting? Brian View. Shout out to Brian View over at FinLocker.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Do you work with FinLocker?
I don't,
Did you meet him through the Mortgage Collaborative?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Brian and I met through the MBA, and I think you and I met in Philly because Brian introduced us.
Party or something.
Yeah, at the ski party, and then ran into each other last year in Denver, and then I coerced you to paying for you to fly out to New Orleans so I could come hang out with you and your sales team.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the future of mortgage lending, right? So we've heard most of your story. Mm-hmm. If we were to fast forward, you bought the company in 2018. Mm-hmm. Easy moment, scary moment. What transpired where you raised your hand and said, "Okay, I'm ready to be third generation"?
Yeah, definitely another fire drill. Our CEO that I mentioned at that time had a major health event.
Okay.
I was 8 months pregnant with my third child. And at that
point...
No
better time to buy a business, guys. No better time.
At that point, I was the next in line, and really the only other person that knew all the various departments. I was already running most of the departments at that point in time. So I raised my hand and said I'll jump in as interim CEO.
Okay. Not
kind of knowing at that point if he would be able to return or not. He was not able to return. My dad had also announced that he was retiring. So this happened in the summer of 2017.
Okay.
My dad was announcing that he was retiring. He didn't take that back when all this went down. So then in December, he officially retired. And then again, January 2018 is when I bought the company from him because he retired.
Yeah. And you had to go out and, I'm assuming, do you raise money for that? Do you go to a bank and a bank gives you a loan?
I had big loans.
You had big loans. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you just got done paying off student loans just to
right.
just to go get a loan
big loans
to buy the company. It's going to let you make loans so people can become homeowners.
Yes.
Any good learning lessons when you look back on that time period, which was now 7 years ago?
Yeah. I would say one thing that I've said often is just kind of always jump in where you can. Don't question yourself or your abilities. I find, particularly as a woman, we do that often where we're questioning ourselves and our abilities, and most people don't do that. They'll just jump in and do it. So that would be number one. I would say number two would be don't be afraid to make the tough decisions. At that point, obviously, there was a lot of change. I put through a lot of changes, but also was able to retain just about everyone that we had. So my biggest lesson is just always keeping focus on your people and what's the end goal for the people of the organization. And then, of course, if they're happy, they're serving the customers in the right way as well.
Do you still have family that works at the company?
No.
You're last woman standing.
Yeah, we call it a family business, but I guess really technically.
You know what? But if people get to know you, your people are your family.
Yes, they are.
Right? Like you even call, like this is really cool. Kate shared this on the stage today. Most of us know the concept of pods, right? A pod would be, I'm an originator, so I have this group of processors, this group of underwriters, this group of closers. Let's just all work collectively together and learn each other's quirks. Well, but you call them not pods, but you call them
families.
They're families. Yeah. Do you give your families names?
No, but we should.
You should. You
That'd
should.
be a
So,
great
or
idea.
like almost like clans, you know, like Clash of Clans, but you each has. But yeah, but anyone who gets to know Kate and you get to know Eustis Mortgage, you know that you definitely have a big heart. You lead with your heart, and yeah, you've gone as far as even calling these pods families. But you are the last of the family standing. And you purchased the company from your father back in 2018. It wasn't just given to you. You actually had to go get a loan from a bank. Then you had to pay that loan off.
Which luckily the COVID years helped facilitate me being able to pay off those loans.
Yes, the mortgage gods definitely smiled down upon you and so many others, right? If anyone was in a position to capitalize on 2020 and 21, like, wow, how fortunate were we? Although nowadays I tell people all I did was front load my income. I front loaded the income I'm going to earn in the 2020s. I just front loaded it all into the first 2 years.
Right. Hopefully those that were wise with it are the ones still sitting here.
Yes. Well, that's what I said to the room this morning. I'm like, I look around and I see a bunch of survivors, right? I see a bunch of people who are like teed up to start thriving because we're still showing up. And at this point, we all have smiles on our faces. Like we're done with the frowns and we're done with the boo-hoos and the why it's me. It's like, nah, it's time to get after it. Speaking of getting after it, like what is exciting you and your team about the future? Like what are you looking towards and being like, this excites me?
Yeah. You know, in the mortgage world, for me, I know I say this a lot and it's just about the relationships. So I'm always excited about, we were talking earlier in the session that we had about how we're doing kind of that authentic LO. And it was a challenge at one point, but now it's just really highlighting our loan officers, who they are, and hopefully relating to those out there. And like, I love watching those. That excites me. Like, I like getting to learn more about that person that I may not get to see. They're not sitting next to me all the time. I don't get to hear their story all the time. It's at a sales rally or a president's council trip, but being able to actually watch their stories too just excites me. And I think taking that direction in general of just, again, it's their brand, that's what's most important to me, and then also their identity and what they do outside of loans, and then how well they do loans as well.
What freaks you out a little bit? Like, is there anything that keeps you up at night when you think about the mortgage industry?
The deep fake situation has started to freak me out. So I had said like, hey, Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner got married. It was a joke, but there were pictures of them like circulating that legit look like they got married.
Okay.
And as a business owner, you know, with lots of warehouse lines and and or needing to have good credit to access our warehouse lines to do loans, having large operating accounts, that makes me nervous that somebody could legitimately create me.
Yeah.
Be like, we need a withdrawal.
That would be scary, especially like for those that don't know, like when you own a mortgage company and you have those warehouse lines, like they want personal guarantees.
Yes.
Yeah. So your ass is on the line.
Correct.
Which is why when so many people are like, oh, I'm just going to go start my own mortgage company. I'm like, really? Like, maybe you should call my friends at UWM first and let's start brokering before you want to go all in and you know, start signing up for warehouse lines of credit and signing away your life.
Be a P&L branch.
Or yes, or
a
better
lot
yet.
safer.
Yeah, or Kate's like, just call me, right?
Yes.
Jared Ward's with us over at Lower. Jared and Kate are like, just call us.
Yes.
We'll get you set up on a P&L branch. You do not need to own your own mortgage company. If you're doing enough volume and you can think like an entrepreneur and actually make decisions like a business operator and not like an LO. We know you are an LO, but we need to think like a business operator. Then yes, that P&L branch opportunity is a great opportunity for so many. I mean, it was essentially where I put my flag down. Looking back, honestly, I wish I would have left my company in 2019. Like I left Waterstone in 2024. I wish I left in 2019 and actually started my own. Because I think that timeline for someone like me has already passed. Like I don't think at this standpoint in my career, plus with what I have going on with the show and what we have going on at T-Lops Originator Coaching, It's just like, yeah, I think that ship
So you're
sailed.
taking back the advice that you give other people.
What
Don't
advice is
worry
that?
about
Wait, what's?
call UWM, become a P&L branch. You're like, no, I was gonna
No.
open my own.
I was, but I mean, but I'm a CMB. I'm a future leader graduate. I was running 7 branches and doing about 70 million a month in production, and I had a badass team.
Yeah.
I had 2 awesome partners and a badass team. So like at that standpoint, yeah, I feel like we had proof of concept. I feel like we could have gone out.
Yeah.
But no, someone doing 100 million, 200 million, no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, because you're better at doing 100 million, 200 million.
I would almost say, and I'm curious to get your take on this, I think $1 billion's barrier of entry right now.
I agree.
I think $1 billion in volume, you either need to be $1 billion and able to scale or, you know, like I love your business model because you are in about those 3 or 4 states, like hardcore, right? Like Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana. So you don't need to go to California, Colorado, Pacific Northwest, or the Mid-Atlantic because you're a big player in that footprint. I think the regional can do really well or super boutique.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're doing 200 million and you don't know how to get it to $1 billion, or you don't have the infrastructure or the culture or whatever the case may be, no, you'd rather be a $200 million branch
Right.
on a P&L than you ever would.
And even when you see some of the smaller IMBs, they've had to downsize significantly enough that they are really kind of like a branch because they're outsourcing a lot of what they're doing.
I have a coaching client of mine, so he coaches with me private one-on-one, and he and his partner own their own IMB. They do about $240 to $360 million a year. This was 2 years ago. And we had our last call because usually my commitment's like 6 months. So after 6 months, just like my marriage counselor said to me, like, you don't need me after 7, 8, 9 months. Like, I'm not an accountability coach. Like, I'm a help you break through a barrier, help you, get to the next level. But I literally told them, if I were you, I'd sell. They have several $1 million in their company. Their asses, pardon my French, are on the line with their warehouse lenders. They have both their tickets. I'm like, sell and fold into a large lender.
Right. Pick the right people.
Pick the right people and fold in, because one of them is probably closer to being retired. One of them is like, no, I want to go 10 more years. So it's like, that was, I think, the best advice, which is probably why I gave it to them. And we still talk, right? Like we're still friends. So I think it was good advice. So yes, if I were to backtrack, my ship has sailed. And when I, along with my partners and my team, were doing 600-700 million in 2019, we should have at that point gone all in, which would have put us over $1 billion during the 2020, 2021 time frame, probably back down to 500 or 600 million right now. And then I'd be that guy saying, crap, I'm not $1 billion. I either need to get myself to $1 billion, or I need to call Kate or Jared or someone else and look at folding into them. Yeah. What's your take on AI? Like, how are you handling AI? Not so much on the personal level. What's your company position with AI?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good tool. I think it's just, again, mortgage world is so slow to adopt.
Historically,
and when
yes.
we're not talking about being able that, blockchain doesn't exist at the moment. So utilizing it, it's much more from a sales focus or customer service focus. And then just internally, making our employees' lives easier in ways that they can do things more efficiently by using it. We've plugged in, bots just like everybody does. And, it's great. But is it going to replace people in the end? I don't think so. I was talking about a appraisal AI that we're using that's kind of looking at pictures and saving underwriter time. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, how much time can we save, whatever the employee's role is, and then that frees them up to do more.
Yeah. Do you follow Pavan over at Angel AI? His company is SunWest.
I don't, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Very interesting interview he recently did. And he was on the show, must have been 3 years ago now. But when he was on the show, he was just at that standpoint launching Angel AI. And I was still a whole lot confused. But he is swearing that his technology at this standpoint can take a file from start to finish, fully underwritten, fully approved, without any human interaction.
Yeah.
And although I'm always going to be a bit of a skeptic, I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what this does.
Yeah.
But, at what point do the investors and the Fannie and Freddie and the aggregators and the GSEs, and like, at what point Like, where are those reps and warrants? Where are those reliefs? How does that get factored into pricing? Do we get better pricing if AI is a better underwriter than a human?
Right.
Or, do we get worse pricing because there's going to be deficiencies, whether they're biases or something else? It's just so much to monitor. My hope on the sales side is that companies like yours or originators out there are at least saying, yeah, how can I take my marketing, take my customer service, take my database management, take my consumer outreach to level 300 when normally it's been at level 6.
Yeah.
And how can I do so without it really costing me any more money and any more time if I can leverage the right resources?
And I think, that underwriting piece, it's like, yes, we keep seeing various platforms that claim they can do these things, but I feel like there's so many nuances in underwriting that I just can't envision that AI is going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier about AI hallucinations.
Yes. Yeah. On the big panel, on the executive panel earlier today.
Which is like a whole different thing. So then again, how do the agencies protect against something like that, where it's creating the story, it's creating a pay stub? Like, where does it, how does it end?
Yeah. No, it's
so
going
I
to be
think
interesting.
there's a lot of regulation that's going to have to come around it as well before it really gets anywhere.
Yeah. So if I summarized, you're definitely not putting your head in the sand, and you're not telling your people to put their head in the sand.
No.
But you're playing a little bit of the wait and see game. And I find there's different camps. Like, there's those camps that are like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go all in on tech and I'm going to spend all this money, at which point I would caution, unless you're Rocket, right? Unless you're UWM, unless you're like one of these massive publicly traded national companies, can you really afford to lose $3 million or $5 million? Can you afford to lose whatever you're going to invest into this? Or is it better to be a fast follower? Whether that's relying on ICE or Black Knight or one of the big conglomerates.
Yeah, I definitely don't see building technology on our side. We create things to function more efficiently, but I would never look at it and be like, I'm going to go build an LOS or I'm going to build this system to go from start to finish. Definitely rely on our vendors, because in that situation, they are the experts. We can give some great advice because we're the one manufacturing it, but they're the ones that would keep up with it. So,
yeah. Be an early adopter, be a fast follower. Don't put your head in the sand. And if anything, like, I look forward to using it, obviously, on the content creation. I mean, what I can do with a newsletter, with creating scripts that are really good to produce reels, even doing webinars. I mean, there's so many things that just very surface level. If an LO would say, well, if I just had this type of a marketing assistant and this type of a sales assistant, I'm like, you got it, y'all.
Right. You can sell it to do your podcast, do a reel, create these 5 things and give you the bullet points.
Yes. I want to upload my entire past client database, and I want to have an agent who I don't have to pay money for, besides maybe $30 a month for whatever service I'm using, that is calling every single one of them and asking them to hop on an annual mortgage review. Like, it's my job to do the annual mortgage review. But unfortunately, I need to have someone to talk to. So if I'm an originator, how cool would it be if I just had to upload my database, set my parameters, and then, yes, I had a AI agent who could then call, have a conversation. I mean, introduce themselves. Hey, look, I am AI.
They say they're AI, yeah.
Yeah, I work for Kate, but Kate really wants to talk to you because X, Y, and Z. Get them on my calendar. Like, that wasn't happening last year. Last year, I was letting that low appraisal impact me. I was letting the fact that there's a contingency and my borrower didn't sell their home, and now we're freaking out and trying to call one of the companies that can step in and offer us some kind of a bridge loan, right? Like, that's going to take my priority, so I don't end up doing everything else. But how cool would it be if I could do more webinars, if I could do more outreach to my past client database, if I could actually get that newsletter shipped off every single Friday, then I think I could continue to be the source of information, stay top of mind with my database, generate more leads, and ultimately close more loans.
But the AI agents or dialers, they've just significantly improved. And I think it's a really important feature that they introduce themselves. I'm still like so old school when it comes to that, though. If I'm like dialing in and I can tell it's a robot, I just start like operator.
Yes. You know what?
So
you and me both.
Right. It has to get past that, which I've heard some of them, and they're getting there. It has to get past that for the people like us that aren't just like, get me out of here.
Yeah. And what I would say to an originator who thinks, just like Kate stated, and I agreed, I'm that way, but you weren't making the call before.
Yeah.
So at least let it make the call, let it learn, let it get better, because that call going out to 100 people, 60 of them were just like Kate and Dustin, but 40 weren't.
Right. And
Those 40 people you weren't touching just a week ago or a year ago that you now have access to.
Yeah, and hopefully an appointment on the calendar.
Yep, and hopefully an appointment on the calendar. Yeah, so I'm partnering with my buddy Luke Shankula right now. Y'all be on the lookout. Go to our website, tloponline.com, because if you go to the events tab, you'll be able to register for a free webinar. It's like a 3-day event that Luke does. It's his second time doing it, but what he does is he'll get like 2 or 3 originators from throughout the country who are actually leveraging AI, like real world, and they're going to teach what they're doing. So he did it just a month ago. He crushed it. My man Mike Fitzpatrick, Rebecca Richardson, who's actually a coach for TLOP, both of them are friends of mine. Both of them were part of this I guess cohort you'd call it, but it's a free event. So any originator looking to be like a part of what's happening with AI on the origination side, come learn from some of your peers, and you can do so for free. All the information is found on our website. Kate, last question.
Okay.
You get a chance to sit down with 17-year-old Kate deKay. Well, you weren't Kate deKay 17 years ago, but what were you 17 years ago?
I was Kate Shambra.
Kate Shambra. So you're going to sit down with Kate Shambra 17 years, or when you were 17.
Okay.
What advice are you giving that girl?
I think for 17-year-old Kate, I was much more, I know this is shocking to think of me like this, but I was much more reserved, like on the sidelines. And that was probably a better thing for me in high school in New Orleans, because, you know, there's lots of not so ideal things happening when we're teenagers. So no videos will pop up of me doing anything scandalous back in the day.
Because video didn't exist back then.
But I would just say be more confident in yourself.
Yeah. So you go look back. What's one life lesson you learned through working in the mortgage industry that with your 3 children, you're making sure you instill in them?
I would say it's all about people and relationships again. Like, so we instill obviously work values. There's the certain things that are very specific and easy to relate to your children. You know, be a hard worker. You have to work for what you're given. Pick up your clothes off the ground. But I always say, if you can walk into a room and make a connection with whoever in the room, that's kind of how you grow as a person, because you're learning about somebody else, but you're also learning about yourself in the process. So we always just talk about being able to make connections with other people.
Nice. If people want to follow you or get a hold of you, like how do you make yourself accessible to? Oh
gosh, now I have to think. Like, I don't even know what my Instagram is. Kate_deKay.
Okay, so you're IG.
Yes.
Like find Kate deKay on IG.
Yes,
and,
I'm on Instagram.
And the D is lowercase d.
It's a lowercase
It's a small
d,
small e, capital Kay.
Yeah, or at Eustis Family and Instagram as well for the company.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, go to Google, Eustis Mortgage, Kate deKay. I'm sure you can find her email address. You can find her on LinkedIn, although you're not a big LinkedIn person.
I know. I need to do better at all the things.
You're an IG
Everything
person.
I've learned today, and I'm not even really good at that. So
yeah, but I have found if I need to get a hold of you before I had your phone number, I'm like, oh, I can hit her up on IG.
Yeah, for sure.
I tried to hit her up on LinkedIn, and I had like a 2-week delay. I'm like, oh, maybe she's not interested. I'm like, no, she doesn't know her password.
Right.
So it wasn't that she was disinterested.
I get too many messages on LinkedIn that I cannot
yeah.
manage it. So now it's like just sits on the side.
Awesome. Well, I so appreciate you taking time out of your day to come hang out with us here at the Louisiana Mortgage Bankers Association. I appreciate everything you do for the industry. I appreciate our friendship. I'm so grateful for it, y'all. She is Kate deKay with Eustis Mortgage. I'm Dustin Owen. You just tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast. That is all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.